How do you take a page from a magazine and turn it into a gel print? That's what I'm going to be going over in today's video. Here are some gel prints that I have made with pages torn right out of fashion magazines. Here's a Chanel ad, here's makeup, I think this was Maybelline, and here are some others. A lot of people who want to get into gel printing really want to master this quickly. They want to be able to do these magazine type prints because they are so much fun to produce. But I have to be honest here, I'm not going to lie. These are the toughest gel prints to do. So if you are a beginner, I highly recommend that you start off with other media, other textures than these magazine images when you first start out. I do have some other videos here on the channel. One is called Gel Printing 101. It's perfect for beginners. Also, there's another video that I've done called Avoid These 3 Gel Printing Mistakes. And so my advice to you is to start there. But I'm going to still show you how to do this today because I know you're intrigued and you want to learn how. Hi, I'm Jenna McLean. I am a printer. I do block printing, gel printing, cyanotype. I know how to run letterpress printing presses, and I'm also a surface designer, and I bring some of my art into Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, and then get some of my art printed on products. So today I'm going to show beginners some of the basics about how to get things off of a magazine page and onto a gel print successfully. So why is this type of gel printing so tricky? Well, a lot of your success has to do with what kind of magazines you choose. There are differences between European and American magazines, and there are differences between the kinds of inks and papers various magazines use. Generally speaking, the magazines that are fashion magazines are better to use because they put a lot of ink down on the paper. The quality of the printing is better. The thickness of the paper helps a lot. This is a magazine that I found in the trash bin in the building where I live. I've tried to use some of these to create gel prints, and I have not had any luck with this magazine at all. The pages are thinner. They're not as glossy. And I've just had zero luck with this and zero luck with other magazines. It's really a matter of experimentation. If you're going to create gel prints with magazines, you just have to keep trying and trying and trying and find out what works for you. I must have made about 100 gel prints, or tried to make about 100 gel prints from magazine pages with zero luck. It was around the 100th time I did it that I had some luck. So I'm an experienced printer, so it's not as easy as it looks. So let's talk about some of the basics that you need to keep in mind now that you've kind of found the type of magazine that you need to use. One of the first things that you need to have is a lot of contrast in the image. And by that I mean, take a look at this particular ad here. This is not a black and white photo. It is colored, but there is a lot of contrast between Natalie Portman's hair and the background. There's contrast between her cheekbone here and the hair here, and there's contrast between her body and the background. So this might make a good gel print due to the contrast. This is another colored shot. I would say that this is not a good option for gel printing. Yes, her legs pop against this background, but one of the things that you want to do when you're choosing a photo is have something that's very recognizable, because once you print your gel print, you lose a lot of the crispness that was in the original photo. Like this particular Chanel ad, you start to get almost a dreamy, soft, fuzzy look. And so it really counts to have a photo of something that's recognizable. If I were to create a gel print of this, people might look at the gel print and say, what the heck is that? They may not even recognize that this is 2 legs. So shots of people where it's very clear that it's a person. Now, if you take a look here at this photo of this woman, there's a lot of contrast here, but the problem is this photo is very small. So if you were to cut this out and try to create a gel print with it, it may be so tiny that if somebody is looking at your gel print, they may not even recognize that that is a human head. Now that said, I have created gel prints with small black and white photos. This is a small black and white photo I cut out of a magazine. I'd say it's about 4 inches by 4 inches, and it came out pretty well. But as you can see, there's quite a difference in size between this one and this one. Now here's an interesting photo right here. Is there a lot of contrast? Yes, there is. There's a lot of contrast between this and her neck. You can really see a lot of contrast here, but her arms are not that different to the shade of the background. So if you chose this to do for your gel print, the arms might disappear. You may not even see them on the gel print. So this one, the photograph is fuzzy to begin with. They deliberately decided to use a blurry look for this photo. This probably will not make a good gel print because it's so fuzzy to begin with. I would not go with this one. So as you can see, you have to be very selective about what kind of image you're choosing. You have to be selective about the kind of magazines that you're using. This photo here is small, on the smaller side, but I think this might work for gel printing because it's large enough and there's plenty of contrast between her clothing and the background, her hands and the pants, her hair and face against the background. So this might work. So this is why you have to really be patient with this and practice a lot. And as you go through it, you'll realize that the choices of photos that you use and the choices of the magazines that you use is very important. I'm going to use this particular photograph to make my print. It comes from not a magazine, but a book. I used this side already for another print that I did, and I had success with it. So there's a lot of contrast between her eyes and her skin, between her hair and her skin, between this side of her face and this top that she's wearing. I think this is going to be a good one, but you never know. So I'm going to ink up my plate. I'm not going to put too much on. You should be able to see the gel plate through the paint. This layer should be somewhat transparent. I'll take this, I will set it down. I start at the top and I press down this way. And I'm not pressing hard. I am barely touching this, and I only want to leave it on here for about 10 seconds. And then I'm going to pull. Okay, now what's happening is I pull this back, I can see black blobs on her face that I don't want to see. And what that means is I didn't press hard enough there, or there was an air bubble. There's a blob there. I'm going to press on it to lift up that paint. And there we go. This is pretty good. It's very soft looking. It's not a really sharp print, but I think I can work with this. So what I want to do is I want to get rid of some of these little black blotches. You can leave them in there, but I'm going to clean them up. Now to do that, I have a baby wipe here and a tissue here. So with the baby wipe, I'm going to very gently go over some of these spots and dab that area with the tissue, because the wet wipe, the baby wipe, is leaving behind some moisture on the plate. I'm going to get rid of this area a little bit here. Just going to try to get more definition around her nose and around her eyes. You don't have to do this step. It's entirely up to you. There are some other spots here, and some other spots here, and those are areas where I didn't press hard enough. These are areas where there were tiny little air bubbles, and that's the way it is. But they add interest to the picture. I just don't want to have so many black splotches on her face that you can't even tell that you're looking at a human face. I want to clean them up a little bit. And here is the picture that I put on there. See this here and here and here? Those are these blotches here. These white spots are areas where I just did not press hard enough because I'm trying to be careful not to press hard enough. The problem is if you press too hard or leave this on for too long, you'll end up lifting all of the paint off the plate. Okay, this is dry, and now I'm going to put on the pickup layer. So when you're doing the pickup layer with a print like this, you want to stick with light colored paints on this because you need to have a good contrast between them and the black ink that's already on the plate. Now, another thing that happens when you start using images and creating transfers like this is you have to think about composition. You have this big white area here without a lot of stuff going on. And that can create a boring looking print if I were to just lay down, let's say, this milky white paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some various colors of paint on here in this area especially because I want to give it more interest. So let's get going here. I'll grab my printing paper and place it down and press, and we're going to wait for this to dry. I think this is about ready to pull. I'm going to start peeling it back. I do see that some paint has been left on the plate, but not a lot. I'm actually having a hard time pulling this off the plate. That's a good sign. It means that the paint is adhering to the paper. And here we go. This is a really pretty print. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be doing more demos like this to show you how to successfully transfer images from books or magazines onto your gel plate. And if you'd like to grab a copy of my free gel printing supply list, look at the description below this video, and there's a link there. Just click on it and I will send it to you.